In 1985, a 30-year-old man was thrown out of the company he built with his own hands. Fired. Humiliated. Escorted out like a stranger. Nobody believed he would ever come back. But 12 years later, he returned and built one of the most valuable companies in human history. This is the story of Steve Jobs. Early life. Steve Jobs was given up for adoption as a baby and raised by a working-class family in California. As a teenager, he was curious, restless, and never quite fit in. He enrolled in college but dropped out after just 6 months. For the next few years, he slept on friends' floors, studied calligraphy, and traveled to India searching for meaning. None of it looked like the start of an empire. In 1976, at just 21 years old, Jobs and his friend built a computer in his parents' garage. They called the company Apple. Within a few years, their first major product became one of the best-selling computers in the world. By the age of 24, Steve Jobs was a millionaire. Rising conflict. But success brought new pressure. Jobs hired an experienced executive to help run the growing company. At first, the partnership worked. Then his passion project underperformed in the market. Tensions grew inside the boardroom. Jobs clashed with the very leadership he had hired. In 1985, the board made its decision and stripped Steve Jobs of all responsibility. The man who built the company from nothing no longer had a job at the company that carried his name. The setback. Jobs later said it felt like a punch to the stomach that knocked the air out of him. Everything he had poured his life into was suddenly gone. He was 30 years old, publicly humiliated, and unsure if he even wanted to stay in the industry he had helped create. Turning point. But instead of giving up, Jobs started over. He founded a new computer company. He also bought a small computer graphics division from a film studio. That small division would later become one of the most successful animation studios in the world. His new computer company struggled financially for years. But the animation studio didn't. In 1995, it released the world's first fully computer-animated feature film. It was a massive success, and Steve Jobs became a billionaire, without the company that fired him. The return. Meanwhile, his old company was falling apart. Without him, it had lost direction, and by 1996 it was on the edge of bankruptcy. In a stunning move, the company bought Jobs' new business and brought him back, first as an advisor, then as CEO. The man they had fired was now the only one who could save it. Comeback proof. Jobs cut the company's failing product lines down to just 4. He launched a bold new computer, then a portable music player that changed the industry. Then, a phone unlike anything the world had seen, one that didn't just save the company, it changed how humanity communicates. By the time Steve Jobs passed away in 2011, the company that once fired him had become one of the most valuable companies on the planet. Lesson. Being pushed out was the most painful moment of his life. But he later called it one of the best things that ever happened to him. It freed him to become a beginner again. To take risks, to build without fear of losing something he already had. Sometimes the setback isn't the end of your story. It's the chapter that makes everything after it possible. If this story inspired you, subscribe to the Setback Files every week. We uncover the real struggles behind the world's greatest success stories. What setback are you facing right now? Tell us in the comments below.